Hi there, and thanks for tuning in to the second part of my course project. This is the measure phase of my project for FS 475, which is the reduction of sugar intake. So here's my problem statement once more. I'm currently consuming more sugar than I'd like to on a daily basis, and I'm consuming it in very irregular amounts each day. Also, just to reiterate, I am only tracking added and naturally occurring sugars in foods such as lactose and sugars that are found in fruits and those that are added to foods. It does not include starches or cellulose. The problem with the overconsumption of sugar is that I do have lethargic behavior, acne breakouts, and sugar crashes as a result of it. So I want to be able to reduce my average daily sugar intake and regulate the daily amount to a consistent level. Here are my measurements for the past 3.5 weeks that I have been gathering data. I started on September 12th and ended on October 5th. So I tracked my daily food intake using an app that I would be inputting what I ate during the day, and at the end of the day I would assess each food item to determine how much sugar was present in it. This allowed me to gather data that didn't fluctuate from the regular schedule that I was keeping. So the range of my data for the past 3.5 weeks was 40 grams. This is not precise by any means. It has a very large range, and that does lead to the sugar crashes that I suffer from if I am eating very irregular amounts of sugar each day. The mean is also at 45.7 grams, which is much higher than I want to be. It is not very accurate to my desired mean. And then the median here, I just wanted to also put in there because this does give you a better idea of what my day-to-day intake looks like. Since I do have some days where I have outliers, like the 29th of September at 70 grams, or the 19th of September at 32 grams, the 44.5 grams just gives a very good estimate of what each day looks like. The first data tool that I've used to demonstrate my baseline data is the control chart. I wanted to use a control chart because it would very well represent my range and mean for my data. Since it's all numerical, it's very easy to place it on a control chart. It's quantitative, and I did want to be able to track not only the amount I was consuming, but how regular it was. So by using a control chart, I can do both of those things. I do see that I have a point here that is almost at my upper control limit, so that shows that there's a lack of control here. Same thing in my range chart. I do have very, very large range changes from day to day, indicating that I'm also not very regular in the amount that I consume. So that's something I want to be able to change. I do see lots of points where I am either above or below the line for quite a few points, which I know can also indicate irregularity. My second chart that I have here is a histogram. I wanted to use this to show the distribution of my consumption from day to day. So I do see here that I have a little bit of skewing to the right towards the higher end of my data, which is something I want to change as well. I want to stay at the lower end. I do have most of my data clumped into the second column, which is thankfully below the average, yet I still have skewing to the right, which is something I want to change as well, and get a more normal distribution. Lastly, I did put in my Pareto chart. I wanted to look at my data in a different way and really get to the root cause of my day-to-day sugar consumption. Since I have my baseline data, I thought I could look at it a different way. And by using this Pareto chart, I have been able to do so. I did clump my data for days of the week to determine if there was a day of the week that was contributing to most of my sugar intake, which I did conclude that Fridays and Saturdays are days that I do consume the most amount of sugar. Like many people, I tend to relax my diets over the weekends. That's when I'm not practicing. It's easy to slack off on my health. So it makes sense that Fridays and Saturdays would be the days that I do consume the most amount of sugar. And I thought I would use a Pareto chart to show that because it does show the even percentages of those days that do have the most amount of sugar. So for some future work here, I do want to be able to analyze my measure data to determine the root cause of my problem, which I've already started with the Pareto chart. That is going to be done this week. I will also be developing an improvement to solve the problem and collect some data with that improvement in place, and then analyze that data with respect to my baseline data. So I'm already gathering information about what my root causes are. I do believe that the day of the week is a factor, and I do also believe that the foods I'm eating, the lack of planning, as well as the stress levels that I'm currently experiencing in my life are all contributing to that, and that's what this next phase will be all about. So I appreciate you listening today, and let me know if you have any questions.